Precious souls, welcome to our little happy space. Calling in your higher self, your guardian angels, your spirit guides, and your ancestors. I have a strong message, and I feel like this reading is definitely going to have some relevance to this. The message coming through is that no matter how hard you may try to be your most authentic self and operate in a place from a place of sincerity and empathy for others, there will be those on your path who are devoted to misunderstanding because they're on their own healing journey. And these events where you are maybe misjudged because of projections from unhealed people projecting onto you their own firm beliefs, solid, locked in like stone, I'm seeing, based on what all that they've experienced in their life. And so they see everybody around them as this projection of the same people, the same intentions. Don't allow that to make you fearful of moving forward with authenticity. What I'm also being called to share is operating out of authenticity comes largely from many years of walking on eggshells where you feel you couldn't operate out of authenticity, that you would be punished or receive negative feedback when you were your true authentic self. There will be those that you will come across on your path that will challenge that will challenge you to divert from your authentic path, your authentic expression. And you're being called to just see them as, see the truth in it. When people come at you or attack your character and you know you are genuinely moving from a place of love and sincerity, don't change yourself to try to, don't dim your light to try to soften whatever it is that they are devoted to seeing projected back to them from the external environment that they reside in. But also see that there may be a lesson. There's always a lesson. There's something to learn. There's something to see beyond the feelings of being misunderstood when you operate in authenticity. The lesson is that not everyone understands you. Not everyone is going to understand you. And that in that moment when you feel that someone is misjudging you or judging you based on something they've experienced over and over in the past, to take that opportunity to set clarity, a deeper understanding for both. Also, put yourself in their perspective. This is very important in life. Perspective is everything. They are judging out of a perspective that they carry. And perhaps you will be defensive in a perspective that you carry, all based on different experiences. The whole point of this is to listen to understand and speak to be in a way that you will be received, not harshly, and open-minded always. There's always something to learn. Thank you for coming through with that spirit. So the entire reading is about cooperation and balance and participation with others. If the world was meant to have just you in it, it would have only you in it. We are meant to learn and grow with each other and share with authenticity and a deeper level of attempting to understand different perspectives, combining them together, collaborating to create something so beautiful. And it isn't until we can let go and release any of the old experiences, knowing that there are different and refreshing experiences yet to be learned, understood, embraced, open-minded of what you might need to learn in everything. So every interaction has something to teach, every interaction, and especially the ones that may trigger you, especially the ones that may call you out, especially the ones that may challenge you to look at the bigger picture. I love this. Everything is learning. And when you embrace that, you will never feel as though you are being attacked personally. you will see that there are people around you that just want to be seen, heard, understood. They want change, and sometimes it's hard to find that change. And so some people will attempt to change their environment externally instead of changing their environment from the inside, healing those wounds from the inside, seeing beyond the old projections, that film that plays from all of the people who've come against them. And so they will see most people that they come into contact with as some kind of a threat, and it may trigger some kind of a response in them, a reaction, if you will, where they attacked your character, even though you're meaning so well from the core of your being. Um, it is not our job to change the perspective of people who come against us, who feel threatened or attack. It is merely our job to learn and take from that experience. Is there something that I could change in the way that I speak so I am more clearly understood, more authentically, clearly portraying what I am trying to say? Do I say too much? Do I say too little? Is there some way that I can be received better in a way that I communicate more effectively? Wow, okay. Let's see what the challenge is from Spirit. That was an interesting channel. And I can resonate with that. I can resonate with that. As someone who walks with authenticity, there have been times that people misunderstand me for sure. They misunderstand my intentions. And it has caused me to have to look at how do I communicate clearly or not clearly my intentions? How might something I say be offensive because I don't have the experience of the people I am speaking with and not seeing it from their perspective? So your challenge is to see the pure potential in this. Every single encounter, especially those that may trigger or especially those that may challenge, hold a beautiful lesson, and it's pure potential. It's enhancing your ability to communicate effectively, both receiving information and sharing information. There might be something deep inside that has you almost afraid to be authentic. Has all of us afraid to be authentic? Why wouldn't we have been authentic our entire lives? We can look at that and say, because we were misjudged when we shared and we isolated ourselves. We didn't feel that it was safe to completely be authentic in our expressions. So we isolated ourselves because we also didn't want to go against who we truly are at the core. It was an internal battle and it was projected externally, and allowing ourselves to sincerely look at the deeper wisdom to be learned by this, and allow ourselves to purge that belief that being authentic is somehow threatening, that we need to isolate and cry out those tears and say, maybe there's something more I need to learn about how I deliver this information authentically. Maybe there are ways that I can overcome this without sitting in this box, feeling like I can't be myself, but I also can't not be myself. And so sitting in isolation. It's about silencing that egoic mind that goes 24/7, constantly judging ourselves based on maybe the false judgments that others place on us. Silencing that ego and saying, I know in my heart I am operating out of authenticity and my true core values. So, how am I not delivering this message clearly? How am I not receiving messages clearly? Is there something that stands in the way of this basic communication that I can bring more clarity to the situation? Okay, so this just recently, you potentially shared aspects of yourself, started planting seeds, something you were trying to do on this journey of healing and trying to exist in your most authentic self with others. Okay, you planted the seeds, you put yourself out there, and it's like it's like we can go from one extreme. We reached the point where we're tired of being in isolation. We don't want to operate in an unauthentic way. So we just throw ourselves out there and here's my truth. Here it is. Come look at it in its raw form. And it's like two opposites, two extremes sometimes. When we're first getting used to this, it's like a child walking. They throw themselves out there and they're stumbling all over and they're just trying to get into it, do the thing, right? They just want to experience it. And then you stumble and you fall and you learn, wait, there might be a more graceful way to do this. There might be a middle ground. There might be that gray area where I don't have to go from crawling to running and stumbling all over, but maybe I just need to be more mindful in each moment of what effect my my communications, my ability to understand and to communicate and share what effect it might have on others. So truly empathizing and seeing the broader picture outside of who we are in our little bubble. Okay, in the near future, so just to come, I'm seeing that you are going to, we are going to all get more enjoyment, more experience, and make every ordinary extraordinary by living in the moment and seeing how is it that we affect others? How is it that I've allowed others to affect me? Living so fully in the moment, like this person, I'm literally getting a vision of someone walking through the garden and they want to bring those flowers in to set them on their table. Is there any thought or feeling as to what it's going to do, how it's going to affect those flowers when you pick them? Is it how do we affect the environment around us, and how do we allow others to change and affect our own selves? This is a very deep message. I really hope those of you who are watching are really listening, like truly listening to understand what this is, because I feel like there is a large soul collective that is going through this or needs to understand this at this time. On your journey, it is going to have a huge impact. As human beings, we learn, we go through these phases where we're challenged all through our lives, how we give and take information and feelings, how we can misread someone's intentions or feelings based on our ego, how we've experienced things similar to that in the past. I want to know the energy of the collective I'm reading for right now, please, Spirit. Thank you. Thank you for coming through. Of course, you're going through a beautiful transformation at this time. So you're being given this wisdom, this deeper wisdom channeled through me at this time, because this is something you need to contemplate on your journey, okay? In the near future, moving forward, like I said, you're going to have more of a deeper empathizing understanding of how you affect every living sentient being in your external environment, and how you allow yourself to live fully in each moment authentically, how you express these feelings, emotions, thoughts, and deeper wisdom that's within you is going to largely determine how those around you are going to receive it. But in saying that, flip the roles. It's got everything to do with perspective. How are you receiving the information that someone is sharing with you? Okay, based on your experiences, are you projecting certain conclusions or ideas? Are you summing it all up? Our brain, our mind has a funny way of trying to compartmentalize things, sum them up, prejudge. It's part of ego. And it's about seeing that as you're going through this transformation, you're going to need to not only operate out of authenticity, but use your intuitive abilities to read the room. I'm hearing. Read the room. That's beautiful. I like that. See how it is that people are going to receive your message and still remain authentic, but find a way to be deeply understood on a level that you're trying to explain and express without coming off of this authentic path that you are on. Oh, wow. That sounds like a challenge, doesn't it? Because there are those who have gone through experiences that are going to automatically prejudge because they are still operating out of the ego mind. Okay? So it's about seeing that. And when people, if and when people react negatively toward what you're trying to share, it's about clear communication. It's not about reacting and saying, like, why are you attacking me or why are you misunderstanding me? But actually asking, how was I unclear? Please understand that this is my true intention. This is what I'm trying to get across. Maybe I didn't communicate clearly, and accept accountability, but also have healthy boundaries when someone's attacking you. It doesn't necessarily mean it's a reflection of what your true intentions are. It is a direct reflection of how they feel, what they've been through, to account for why they would project whatever on you, right? So we are all connected, but we all have a different journey and different experiences that are going to largely um, account for why we view things so differently, have so many different perspectives. But every single person's perspective, once understood, when you put yourself in their shoes, I think we will all continue to reach this potential because we can see from every angle. We can share in the deeper wisdom of knowing where they might be coming from, what they might have gone through. Is it kind of similar to our own journey? How are we projecting onto others? Because it's only about what we can control, which is our own actions, reactions, and our own ability to respond, our own responsibility. All right, now I'd like to know what your direct message from Spirit is at this time. Yes, allow yourself to share those inner gifts that and the expressions authentically because it's something beautiful that you're meant to. And don't allow projections put on you by others that may not understand where you're coming from to stop you, to alter what you're trying to express authentically, but instead speak to be understood in a way that you know it's going to be received. Keep it, have the ability to change and shift as you need to to both attain the deeper wisdom behind what someone is trying to explain and ask questions to understand more clearly if you don't, and do the same, offer the same, offer the same clarity if somebody's misunderstanding and jumping to conclusions. Offer the same clarity and say, this is what I meant. I feel like you might have understood, but if so, I'm sorry, I'll speak more clearly. And it's okay to do that. And it's not that you have to spend your life defending yourself. We've done enough of that. The walking on the eggshells and everything else. There are some that are devoted to misunderstanding because they're still in that cycle of karmic lessons where they will continue to see the same exterior environment until they start to change something from within. But our ability to respond, our responsibility largely involves speaking authentically, sharing our inner gifts, and making sure that it's coming across in a clear, concise way, in a way that we want it received, and also giving the same respect to others. If we misunderstand what they're saying, it's about asking questions for clarity, and that's okay because we want to understand each other. They are blessings, they are gifts to deeply understand. You're desiring so much to have all of your, blessings come in, all of the things that you've been working so hard toward. And a lot of this has a lot to do with expressing and sharing with others, okay, collaborating with others, coming out of this isolation, allowing yourself to silence these prejudgments or some of the projections from your past. But this is also what we stand in our way of. So we can ask ourselves, how is it that we're believing that we'll always be misunderstood because that's all we've experienced? How is it that I may not be expressing clearly how I truly feel? How is it that I might be misunderstanding other people and their communication, jumping to judgments? Okay, we're standing in our way of this coming in. So we need to say, what is it that we can change inside of ourselves, our beliefs, our behaviors, in order to align with what we truly desire in life, which is this beautiful abundance of happiness, collaborations, true friendships, deeper relationships, and a better understanding. The key, have patience with yourself, have grace, and certainly have it for others too. Like I said, we're all connected. At one point, you may be in the same position as the people that you feel judged by or that you feel misunderstood by. Maybe you learned a little quicker. Maybe you're learning a little slower. It doesn't matter. We're all on this journey together. So it's about using our communicative abilities to ask questions for clarity and to share more concisely what we're feeling by stopping, being patient, taking some deep breaths, not reacting, and instead looking at the bigger picture. We need to understand each other. Are we able to do that? How can we do that and still operate out of authenticity without feeling threatened? Letting go of the old ways that we are projecting onto others, things that we've experienced, pre-labeling, prejudging, and also letting go of anything that we feel attacked by with others. Remembering again that we are all going through this journey, and they may be reacting out of something that they've experienced. We need to let go of this. This is something that will continue to keep our mind operating like a giant factory, the ego trying to constantly perceive what others are experiencing or trying to share instead of asking and trying to understand, okay? Our mind can be very judgmental. Our ego can be very judgmental, mostly based on some of the things that we've learned in the past. It does get wrapped around that identity, and it's not true to us. being authentic is also seeing that there is something more than what we have experienced. There's something more to understand. And we have a lot to share. And when we do, and we do it in a feeling of vulnerability, but also learning how not to set ourselves up to be prejudged by maybe carelessly being so authentic that we just let it all out, like the child who's trying to run instead of learning to walk first, right? It's seeing that happy middle ground. I feel like this is such a beautiful reading, and I really hope that if this resonates with you, you take to heart what I'm trying to say, and hopefully I said it clear enough because it was a tricky one, but wherever you are, you belong. So if you're feeling like you are not safe to be your true authentic self, it might be a case of you're not expressing yourself in a way that people can understand, or maybe you're dealing with people who are, quite devoted to misunderstanding just based on their journey. But this is something that you can't let it stop you from being who you truly are and shining your true light, sharing your most authentic inner self and expressions. Okay, I'm sending you guys so much love. Keep shining.